Hello, this is Mr. Wynn. This video will be about adding, subtracting rational expressions. So just like before with fractions, you can add, subtract, you need to have common denominators. The LCD is the least common denominator or least common multiple, basically the same thing. And to find that, you must factor, so we're still factoring. The LCM contains each factor, so each different factor, the greatest number of times it appears as a factor. All right, greatest number of times. So here's how I simplify this. There'll be 5 steps. Fix subtraction to additions needed. I'll show you that in a later example. But factor just the bottom. So GCF first and ACX method are difference of squares. Second, we find the least common denominator. Remember, use each different factor. And for repeats, use one that appears the most times. Third is find the restrictions. Remember, same as before. Set the denominator or LCD factors not equal to 0. 4, fix each fraction, making all the denominators match the LCD. And 5, simplify the top. We do have to distribute here in combined terms, but you never distribute the bottom. You just leave it alone. So just a quick review for numbers. When adding, subtracting, you need common denominator. Then you add, subtract the top while leaving the bottom unchanged as a single fraction answer. So remember, step 1 was factor. So just factor the bottom. Well, 6 is really 2 times 3. All right. 9 is really 3 times 3. So my bottoms are factored. So I'm going to find the LCD. Well, using those things, I see 2 and I see 3s. Well, there's only 1 2, so I need to have a 2 in my LCD. I see 3s. There's 1 3 on the left, but 2 3s on the right side. So I need to use the one there's more, so I use 2 3s. That is my LCD. I need those 3 things. And if you want to, you multiply together, but it's better to keep it separate. So, but really, if you multiply together, that's 2 times 3 is 6, times 3 is 18. 18 is the first time 6 and 9 meet up. All right, so now step 2, or so step 1 was factor, step 2 is find the LCD. There are no restrictions because there's just numbers, so there's letters in the LCD. That means there'll be letters or variables on the bottom, the denominator, then you have to find restrictions. Step 4, fix each fraction. So let me rewrite the fractions with their factored form. So 5 over, instead of 6, I'll write 2 times 3, plus 4 over, that was 3 times 3. Well, I gotta make those denominators match the LCD. The LCD has a single 2 and 2 3s. This first fraction, that 5, is missing a single term on the bottom because it has a 2 and a 3. It's missing a 3. So I just multiply by 3 over 3. And on the right side, the 4 on the bottom has 3 and 3. It's missing a 2. So I multiply 2 over 2. You multiply the tops, but you don't worry about the bottom. So 3 times 5 is 15 over, and see, plus 2 times 4 is 8 over this LCD. All right, and you just leave it like that. Fix the top. 15 plus 8 is 23 over 2 times 3 times 3. All right, so that is our answer. All right, and you'll see why I leave the bottom like that. Usually it's not going to be numbers. It's going to have very long, a lot of factors actually, with x's and stuff. So first, let's simplify this. Well, factor the bottoms. The first one is 2 times x. There's 2 things. That second one is just 5 times x, 2 things. To find the LCD, I got to pick everything that's different. The most time it shows up, well, I see a 2. There's a single 2 here, and no 2's on the other side, but it's different, so I need to use 2. I see a 5. There's 1 5 here, no 5's on the other side, so I need that. And both of them have an x. Now, they both appear just once, so pick either one. I'll pick this one. So my LCD has 3 things in it. It needs a 2, it needs a 5, and an x. All right, I'm going to do my restrictions now. For the LCD, it can't be 0. Well, there's only x in there. 2's not a restriction, 5's not, but x cannot be 0. I'm going to put it down here on the bottom right. That's my only restriction. Restrictions come from the LCD, which again will be our fraction, our denominator in the end. Now let's fix each fraction. So the first one is 3y over 2 times x, plus the second one was 2z over 5 times x. Well, the denominator needs 3 things. They're missing, the first one's missing a 5. So I multiply 5 over 5. The second one is missing a 2. Multiply by 2 over 2. All right. Well, the top 5 times 3y is 15y. Plus 2 times 2z is 4z. And the bottom is just our LCD. You can leave it like this. Or if you want to say 10x on it, that's fine. But that is our answer with our restriction down here, where x cannot be cannot be that one thing. X can't be 0. Right. Here's a slightly harder one. Simplify this. Well, just factor the denominator. Now here I gotta do the x method. So let me do the x method over here. Let's see. A times c, positive 3 on top. B is negative 4. What two numbers multiply to 3 and get me 4? Well, we have 1 and 3. So the 4 is negative. The bigger number must be negative. And the sign for 1, well, if I'm at negative 3, I need to subtract 1 more to get negative 4. So I put in parentheses, does A do anything? A does not. A is 1. Remember, dividing 1 doesn't change the problem. So I'm not going to write that second step. I'm just going to go ahead and go straight to this. It's 4 over, this is x minus 1, x minus 3. Plus x over, well, I have to do the x method again for that right side. I'm going to do it over here. A times c is negative 6. B is positive 5. What two numbers multiply 6 but add a 5? Well, let's see. I have 1 and 6 and 2 and 3. Let me try 2 and 3. All right. 2 and 3 can get positive 5. If 5 is positive, then I have to do positive 3 and positive 2. But make sure you check your multiplication. Positive 2 times positive 3. Positive times positive is positive. But the top half says negative. So 2 and 3 is the wrong pair here. So be careful on 6. Because 6, you have 2 and 3, and also 1 and 6. And both can make 5. So I'm going to try 1 and 6 now. Well, since pi is positive, the bigger number is positive. And if I'm starting at positive 6, I got to subtract 1. Check the multiplication. Negative times positive is negative. So that's good. Again, A is 1. That means we don't have to do the division part because it's not going to change anything. This changes to x minus 1 times x plus 6. All right, we factor the denominators. Now I got to find the LCD. Remember, if it's in a parentheses, it counts as its own factor. I see x minus 1. It's on both of them. But they both appear just once, so pick either one. All right, now if there's 2 on one of them, I have to write it twice. I see x minus 3. It just appears once, so I have to use it. On the other second fraction, x minus 1 I already did, but x plus 6 is new. All right, so this is telling us our LCD. All of our denominators must have those 3 things. Our first one only has 2 of them. It has x minus 1, x minus 3. It's missing the x plus 6. So I'm going to put an x plus 6. I'll do it like this. 6 over x plus 6. All right. The second fraction, it has x minus 1. It's missing the x minus 3. All right, so see, both my denominators have all 3 things. Now, to save you some time, instead of writing out the entire denominator every single step, because that'd be a lot of writing, we can just call it the LCD as long as I see it somewhere on your paper. But basically, we're at here. We're at x plus 6 times 4. I'll put the 4 in front. Plus x times x minus 3. All over this LCD of 3 things. Just fix the top, algebra, so distribute. That's 4x plus 24. That's x squared minus 3x, so plus x squared minus 3x. All over our LCD. And we've got to combine one last time. The x is combined. And let's put the x squared first. So we have positive x squared. 4x minus 3x is plus 1x. And that 24 doesn't combine anything. All over LCD. If you want to write out, you can. I'm just going to write LCD again. Remember, this LCD is exactly that thing on the left. There are restrictions. Ooh, I forgot restrictions earlier, so I'll find it now. Restrictions come from the denominator, which is anywhere, or from the LCD. So x cannot be positive 1. It cannot be positive 3. And it can't be negative 6. There are 3 restrictions here. That was our final answer. So technically, you can find the LCD anytime after you factor. I do it after finding the LCD, but here at the very end. But same thing. All right. So I missed one. Here you go. All right, last one. Simplify this. Now you see it's fraction minus fraction. We don't subtract fractions. If you subtraction, change it to addition and put a negative 1 on top, and you have to distribute it. But the same thing, we're going to factor the first one. Top says it's 5, but the bottom, there's a GCF there. It is 6. So that's really 6. Inside is x minus 3. Plus, I'm going to distribute this now to save some time. That is negative x plus 1 over. For that, there is a GCF. So you take a GCF, it is 2. So let me go over in green. If I take 2 out, what's left over would be 2x squared minus 7x plus 3. For this inside, after the x method, I'll do it in red. A times c, 2 times 3 is positive 6. B is negative 7. Figure out two numbers that multiply 6, but can get a 7. Well, you have 6 and 1. 7 is negative, so this is negative, and this has to be negative. Negative times negative is positive, so I'm good. Does A do anything? A is 2, so I must divide them by 2. So I'm going to write this, but divide by 2. Reduce if you can, and if there's any fractions left over, fix them. So this first one is really x minus 3. This one doesn't reduce, but this 2 goes in front. 2x minus 1. Alright, so this bottom turns to 2, x minus 3, 2x minus 1. It's factored, not fully factored to fix the 6. 6 we know is 2 times 3. Alright, that is fully factored. Now we find the LCD. So I see a 2 in both of them, so I just need one of them. I see a 3. X minus 3 is a repeat in both, but it just appears once, so I need one of them. And I set 2x minus 1. That's my LCD. Let's do the restrictions now before I forget. Remember, 2 doesn't have restriction, 3 doesn't have restriction, but x cannot be up right here as well. X can't be positive 3. It can't be positive 1 over 2. Remember, for this restriction, it helps you. You can write it out to not equal 0. If you add 1 to both sides, you get 2x cannot be 1, and then divide by 2. You get x cannot be positive 1/2. So that's where I got that from. Just change the sign, and then divide by whatever's in front of x. All right, after we found our LCD, we got to fix all the fractions to make it have that same thing. So our first fraction has 1, 2, 3 terms. Our LCD is 4 terms. So I figure out what that one thing is missing. Well, it's missing the 2x minus 1. The second one, it has 3 things. It's missing a single thing. It is missing the 3. All right. Well, the bottom's the LCD. I'm not going to rewrite it each time, so I'm just writing LCD. But for the top, we're at this step right now. We're at 5 times 2x minus 1 plus 3 parentheses negative x plus 1 all over LCD. It is basic algebra. So it distributes 10x minus 5. Distribute this. Negative 3x plus 3 all over LCD. Combine like terms. 10x minus 3x is 7x. Negative 5 plus 3 is negative 2 over LCD. Make sure your answer has restrictions in it. So x cannot be positive 3 or 1/2. All right, remember, our LCD, that 2 times 3, x minus 3, 2x minus 1, that's what goes on the bottom of our fraction. And that's it. Here's our practice problem. If you can do that, you should be fine for class. Again, this is Mr. Wynn. Thanks for watching. See you later. Bye.